Welcome to Synagogues of Pennsylvania, Part 11. In this episode, we look at towns whose names begin with the letter L, M, and N. Our first stop is in Lafayette Hill at Congregation Or Ami, which in English means Light of My People. Or Ami is a Reformed temple. As we can't go up this private driveway, we'll do an overhead shot. Besides Friday evening and Saturday morning Shabbat services, there is also a Wednesday morning minyan. Kenneth Carr has been the rabbi since 2001. The structure at this location was dedicated in 1960. Prior to that, it had been in Roxborough. The congregation started in 1947. This is Temple Beth Yehuda in Lock Haven, Pennsylvania. Not a lot of detailed information is published about this congregation. What we do know is that it only meets once a month for Shabbat services on Friday evenings, that it has been at this location since at least 1984, and that at least in 2015, Rabbi Vineker was its spiritual leader. This is the Jewish Community Center of Meadville. The Allegheny Hillel rents space here. This building was constructed in the early 1950s. The JCC does not have its own resident rabbi, so it collaborates with the Allegheny College campus rabbi and the Hillel organization for joint high holiday services and for Hillel Shabbats and other events. Here is Temple Beth Shalom in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. It belongs to the Reconstructionist movement. Daniel T. Grossman is rabbi. Services for Shabbat are held both Friday evenings and Saturday mornings. It has about 50 member families. Here is another Reconstructionist synagogue, Congregation Beth Israel. Shabbat services are held both Friday evenings and Saturday mornings. Its spiritual leader is Rabbi Linda Potemkin. The congregation started out as an Orthodox synagogue chartered in 1929. Succeeding in a conservative practice came about around 1948. Good times and bad times followed. By the early 1970s, a decision was made to switch to the Reconstructionist ideology. In 1988, due to a rift, a large contingency of the congregation left to form their own synagogue. A new rabbi was able to help regrow the congregation. The congregation moved to this location in 1997 because it needed more room. This is Monroeville, and we're looking at the perimeter of Temple David, a Reformed synagogue. Due to restrictions of street view, we can only show you an overhead shot. There are Shabbat services both Friday evenings and Saturday morning, but they vary in format and time, depending on the time of the year. Barbara Simons is its rabbi since 2006. There are 64 member families involved when Temple David got its charter in 1958. The building was constructed at this site in the early 1960s. There is also a Chabad of Monroeville. Its director is Rabbi Mendy Shapiro. This Chabad house caters to the Jews living in the eastern suburbs of Pittsburgh who are comfortable in a more traditional setting of Jewish practices and customs. Our next spot is New Hope, Pennsylvania, and the congregation is called Kehilat HaNahar, or the Little Shul by the River. You can see the sign there identifying that there is a synagogue, but it's a little difficult to identify which building it is. So we're showing you the general environs. It is a Reconstructionist synagogue. Diana Miller is the spiritual leader. A press release indicates that the sign is at the bottom of a long road or driveway that leads up to its historic building. However, the congregation is only about 25 years old. We move on to Newton, which is home to 3 Jewish houses of worship. The first that is shown here is the Chabad House Lubavitch of Bucks County. This is an umbrella organization or headquarters for 2 or 3 nearby Chabad houses. The senior rabbi is Yudi Shem Tov. There are also rabbis Aryeh Weinstein, Mendy Lazel, Mendel Prus, and Zalman Blecher. By the way, the building on the left is the headquarters and the synagogue. The building on the right is the Aleph Bet Hebrew School. The next place in Newton is Shir Ami, a Reformed synagogue. Joel Simon is the rabbi. Elliot M. Strom is Rabbi Emeritus. Eric Goldberg is the rabbi and director of religious school. The synagogue was founded in the mid-1970s, and by 1978 it had 35 member families. At around that same time, construction was begun at this location for a synagogue complex. In recent years, the members from Temple Shalom joined Shir Ami when the synagogue ceased to exist. There is even a mikveh that meets the standards of a Reformed temple. At one point, the Torah scrolls were stolen, but they were subsequently recovered. Shir Ami meets regularly for Shabbat on both Friday evenings and Saturday mornings. Our third synagogue in Newton is Tzedek V'Shalom, a Reconstructionist Jewish congregation. It has about 30 member families. It does not have its own synagogue structure and has most of their services in this Friends Meeting House. It occasionally brings in a student rabbi, and most services are conducted otherwise by lay people. Friday night and Saturday morning Shabbat services are held about once a month, whether at this building on Saturday morning or a local school library for Friday evening service. This ends this visit to Pennsylvania synagogues whose towns begin with the letters L, M, or N. We still have several more synagogues to view in Pennsylvania. So, bye for now and see you real soon.